Okay, cool. So just this community call is basically just to update what's been happening over the last kind of like 2 to 3 weeks. One of the things that's happening today that everyone should kind of try to tune into is we have Christoph and Johns presenting at the Figma Config today. So the title of the talk is Design Bitcoin for Everyone. For anyone in the call that doesn't know, like Christoph and Johns have been contributing to the design community for the last kind of, I guess, 9 to 10 months. And this talk is designed to help promote the idea of open design, help bring designers outside of the space into Bitcoin, and just help open source projects adopt better design processes. So I think this talk is going to be half an hour after this call finishes. So if you haven't already, feel free to sign up now while during this call, just to make sure you attend and interact with the guys. I think there's a small chat session after as well. So if you want to just mingle over there, feel free to do that as well. I think this is the second talk that we've done kind of on behalf of the community. The first one was at FOSDEM, which was a more developer-focused conference. But the slides are open source as well. So if anyone does feel like they'd like to promote the design community to a different audience, either reach out to one of us and you can kind of build on the slides that have been made already and kind of cater them to your use case. But one of the ways that we're going to make this community more visible is to do this kind of thing. So that's really good. This is really exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing how the guys get on. So I hope you guys are tune in as well. Is everyone planning on tuning in, or if you have time?
Yeah, I am now. I'm registering now. Thanks for the heads up.
I got registered, but I'm going to be on a flight. Do you know if it's going to be recorded?
That's a good question, actually. I'd hope so. I'd like to think so, but I have no idea. It's the truth.
If anyone is tuning in and you might be able to screen record just in case, I'd love to snag it.
Awesome. Cool. And if anyone...
Or is it pre-recorded?
No, they're going to be... so there's a portion of it that's pre-recorded. I think just the start of the talk, which is like a mashup of different people from the community just speaking about why the community is important to them. But I think they're just going to be presenting in real time.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely be tuning in.
And for anyone who hasn't seen the FOSDEM presentation, that's on the Bitcoin Design YouTube channel as well. So feel free to watch that and share that as well. Cool. So I'll move on to the next thing. So we have our kind of other usual calls. The last design review call, we had Ed present some work he's doing on coin selection. I'll speak a little bit about that maybe a bit later, actually. And Stephen and Christoph spoke a bit about a Bitcoin backup helper, which came to fruition through the MIT Bitcoin Expo hackathon. Can talk a little bit about that later as well. We have the Bitcoin Design Guides jam sessions as well for anyone who's not familiar. So this is just a space for us to come together and actually just bounce ideas off each other as it relates to the actual guide. So again, for anyone who's not that familiar, you can just head over to Bitcoin.design, have a read through, walk through, leave any feedback in either Slack or GitHub. So that's what the design guide jam sessions kind of there for. We also have the Bitcoin icon set, which has been kind of led by Bosch, Christoph, and I believe a few others. And if you are so inclined to, if kind of icons is your thing, feel free to reach out to those guys and kind of help polish it, improve it, make noise about it so people will use it in their products as well. Are people familiar with this project or been following it at all?
Well, I knew about it.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a really cool one. I mean, it's obviously there are some icons that are just familiar regardless of product, but then there are some Bitcoin specific stuff like some cool stuff like a wallet icon. There's like a Satoshi version 1 icon, which is pretty cool. I think there's a node icon somewhere as well. Yeah, this one here, which might be used in like your tray to indicate whether your node is fully synced or not synced, and it can be used for different states and stuff. So pretty cool. So bitcoinicons.com if you wanna have a look at it and help improve it, help polish it. That's where
real
you
quick,
can head over to. Yeah, sure.
Connor, are you sharing your screen? I'm just not sure. Maybe my Jitsy's screwing up.
Can people tell me if I'm sharing my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, I'm gonna hop out and jump back in. I can't figure this out, but I'll be right back.
All right, no worries. All right, cool. Okay, cool. That's bitcoinicons.com. Really good. We have a lightning focused channel on Slack. I think Bosch created that as well. So Bosch is doing a lot of work with the Zeus Lightning wallet. So I guess he just felt compelled to make another channel in the Slack. So for lightning focused people, you can have some chit chat in there. What other sort of stuff is going on? So we've been working on this idea of kind of like sprints for the last, I guess, 9 to 12 weeks, something like that, just to give us a bit more streamlined focus on some work related to the design guide. One of the things that came out of the last sprint was a new sending Bitcoin page. Let's have a look. So this is predominantly done by Johns, I think, and this just kind of outlines the different stages that occur during sending a Bitcoin transaction, receiving address, inputting an address, inputting an amount, this kind of stuff. So if you have time, again, just have a read through, provide some feedback, let us know how it can be improved. It'd be much appreciated. And then the next sprint is there's currently a lot of pages in progress. A few that I'm kind of, me and myself and Maggie and a few others kind of trying to push forward is like the onboarding section. The next sprint will also see like a more holistic and visual kind of overhaul of the guide, and just to see sort of like what pockets need perhaps reworking slightly or refreshing, and more generally we're always looking to just like review the content in the guide as well, especially moving forward as the guide there becomes increasingly more content and it gets shared more widely. It's going to definitely be important for people to put their ideas across, put their views across. It's important to remember it's not a static thing, and it's always ever growing. So if you go to one of the pages and you think that you have a different perception on how it should be formulated, or you want to add on top of it, or you completely think that you have a different set of ideas that would work better, you should feel free to leave a message either on Slack in the Bitcoin Design channel, reach out to people personally if that makes you feel a bit more comfortable. But again, that's very welcome. We're definitely encouraging people to try and review the guide a bit more. One other thing as well is we're looking for people to help with kind of like illustrations across the design guide as well. So you'll see on some of our pages we have things like banner images, or we've got more images that are kind of embedded directly into, like, deeper into the content. But some pages don't have much illustrations, and obviously the importance of illustrations can't be understated, because, you know, pictures tell 1,000 words, and, you know, if we can have an illustration or some kind of imagery to get our point across, especially in this type of environment, it definitely go a long way. So the kind of calls out to people for people to try and help us with that kind of thing. For example, Stephen is doing some work on, let me see if I can find it, on trying to understand the inputs and outputs of Bitcoin transaction. Let me see if I can find the PR. Yeah, here we go. So, so let me see if I can zoom out a bit. So stuff like this, you know, just trying to like visualize what is actually happening in a Bitcoin transaction, so a designer knows the kind of properties, the nuances, the different mechanisms that make up a transaction. Like, stuff like this can be like really helpful, as opposed to, you know, trying to describe this with just language alone is not easy. So a picture can say a lot. So is there anyone who thinks that would be something they're interested in, or may perhaps know someone who might be interested in that sort of thing?
I've got a designer I worked with at the Visa crypto team who did a lot of just like sketches. I would always write out kind of like long form documents about the challenges of sending, receiving, you know, et cetera, transactions, and then he would turn it into kind of like a beautiful visual workflow. It was more like hand drawn, not so much charts and graphs like this, but I'll see if I can get him involved.
Awesome. Anyone else have any thoughts about that? No? Okay, cool. And then I think that's the main things I wanted to kind of shout about. I think the other one as well is, for me, I think the guide content is one thing, and like the written stuff is one thing, and even the illustrations and visualizations are one thing as well. But one thing that came out of the last design review is perhaps we could start pushing for kind of educational tools or visualization tools that are maybe like, you know, browser based, that allow you to interact with different elements of a Bitcoin transaction. So for example, Ed's working on this coin selection tool at utxo.tools, and this allows you to basically just interact with a coin selection prototype or interaction, if you want. This isn't quite finished. This is still like very much that beta, but I think tools like this as well that are interactive. Let me have a play around with it. I don't not used it that much, but so that, yeah, you can kind of drag and drop and see how things change over time. And this is, I guess, this particular tool would help a designer, product manager, developer understand maybe some of the implications of coin selection and the privacy implications it has. So I think tools like this will be really useful. I think Ed is looking for feedback as well. So feel free to message him on Slack. I think it's Ed Pratt on Slack. And you know, see if he needs any help on or give him some feedback on how this specific tool could be improved. But more widely, I think tools like this, simulations, act as good learning tools as well, and will act as a good companion for the design guide as well. So I just wanted to bring a little bit of attention to that as well. And I think that's it for me, kind of talking everyone's head off. Oh, I did want to say as well, well done to they're not, Johns is not here, but he got first place at the MIT Bitcoin Expo hackathon, like the Bitcoin track, for, I believe, a Lightning browser extension. You see Onion 78. Yes. Okay, I'm not going to try and explain what this does, but I thought it was the Lightning extension. But there's information here anyway on the project, and there's a video demo and stuff as well, which I've not watched, which I will get around to watching. But that's pretty cool. Again, just anything that kind of lets people know that we're here and we're working, and you're welcome to join us. Is always good, I think. So I think that's it from me. Does anyone kind of have any thoughts on some of the stuff I've spoken about, or just want to take the conversation in a different direction?
I don't have anything to add on anything you touched on yet. I kind of was active in this community right when it first started and pulled off because I was working on some other projects. But I'm starting a nonprofit. Been working a lot with like Steve Lee, who's been really helpful. But we're starting something called OpenStats, and next week we're planning on like a soft launch. And the idea is that we're a nonprofit to support contributors to free and open source software with a focus on Bitcoin Core. And so next week we're doing like a soft launch of our website, and we're going to have a call to action for any contributors in the space. And so our definition of contributors isn't just software developers, but also designers, researchers, just really anything in the space. And so this is like a perfect community to go ahead and sign up and try and get like pre-listed for our site. So the idea is we're going to do a soft launch. Anyone who's contributing, design at all to the community is welcome to sign up. We'll kind of like have to vet you because we are going to be a 501c3, but given you are contributing and that your contributions are free and open source, we'll be able to list you on our site, and ultimately people can learn about your projects, what you're doing, and the end goal is that they could kind of do like grassroots style GitHub sponsors, donations via Bitcoin, Lightning, or like Visa and MasterCard. So keep an eye out for OpenSats soft launch, and yeah, that's pretty much my plug.
Awesome. Sounds really cool. So just remind me again when you plan to launch. I think I just might have missed it.
So the site isn't live yet. We're
Okay.
basically putting like a landing page up. The last like 6 months, we've actually been building out the web platform to actually do the donations, give everyone a landing page. And that's going to go live just before Bitcoin 21. And so if anyone's there, we'll be talking about, OpenSats there. But in the next week or so, we plan on just kind of having a plain Jane landing page where we talk about our early supporters and basically just call for the community. A lot of developers we expect to sign up, a lot of projects that are free and open source we expect to sign up. But we also really want to see, designers, code reviewers, security researchers get involved because you guys are contributing as well. So, anyone and everyone is invited to kind of sign up, get listed. The only requirement is that you are, your work is free and open source to the community. So given that you kind of like fit that bill, go ahead and, we'll just ask for some very basic information. And given that you fit the requirements, you'll get a landing page, people will be able to donate to you. And then ultimately you can, start applying for grants through our website once we get a little more funding.
Lovely. More developer and designer grants. That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for that, Ben. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other things people want to touch on? I'm probably gonna pick on people if if I don't get any.
I mean, if we're really searching,
Yeah.
we've been working on the designs. Luckily, I was able to get one of my designers at Visa to kind of contribute, but he's not as much of a kind of a Bitcoiner. So when we do the full launch for the site in about a month, we've got like hi-fi mockups now. But essentially what I could do is I could go ahead and drop in our like Figma file, for feedback from the community if that's something you guys are interested in. Kind of similar to like what Zeus is doing, I guess, less productizable and more just kind of like a website for donations. But I'm sure there's plenty of tweaks and recommendations people can give. So maybe I'll just open that up to the community as well, and I can connect maybe with Connor or Johns after, who I've been working with.
No, that'd be awesome. We've got the design review channel on Slack. We've got the design review meetings as well. So maybe even if you feel it's appropriate, we could have an in real time design review session, or just make it more general. So
yeah, that'd be fantastic. And the guy I'm working with, I'm trying to get more involved in the community. So I'm sure it'd be a little nudge in the right direction if we got him in on like a live design review meeting. It'd probably be a little more active in the community as well. So I'll definitely do that. Maybe I'll follow up with you, Connor. I'm talking to John on Friday, so we'll make sure it happens.
Okay, sounds good. Nice one. Cool. I'm just trying to see who's on the call. Pavlik, have you got any exciting stuff going on in review and the various projects you're working on?
Hey, Connor. So I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. I'm having some troubles with Jitsi today. It seems that Jitsi hates me today, so...
Now we've got you loud and clear.
Awesome. So in terms of what I've been working on this week, mostly reviewing stuff you guys have been putting out for the Bitcoin design guide. Lots of interesting stuff, lots of pull requests to review. So I'm not sure if there are here community members. Once again, I would just like to invite anybody interested in reviewing the work we do or helping out at this. We are at a stage right now where we just need feedback and people to tell us if the Bitcoin design guide is actually helpful to them. Also, designer perspective is very important to us. So just feel free to go to bitcoin.design/guide and read it, and whatever you find problematic or confusing or anything that can be improved, either put it on Slack or open a GitHub issue, or if you want to fix it yourself, you can also do a pull request. So just want to once again tell people that we really need some feedback in order to polish our guide.
Cool.
I just if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'll be happy to. If you can just prompt me, I'll definitely be happy to give you feedback. So,
sure. Is that Randy? Oh, hi,
correct.
Randy. Have you been kind of following the community for a little bit now, or?
I was unaware of this. I've been kind of doing my own thing, and and so I'm glad to have found this community. I need plenty of feedback, and I'm happy to offer that as well. So I'm glad to have found the group.
Awesome. Are you a designer yourself, or?
Yeah. I've done mobile design, web design, all kinds of stuff. So.
Awesome. Very cool. Who else do we have on the call? I think Eric said some stuff. Did Patricia or Maggie want to chime with anything? Or you guys all good?
I feel like I'm good.
Okay, awesome. That's good.
I could maybe give an update. I don't know if Pav has already done this. We're trying to build some LDK branding. Did we already go over this? I might have. This may be repeated.
No, go for it.
Because I missed the first 10 minutes.
No, go for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we got some really great feedback from Steve Myers, who had done some of the sort of original design work for BDK on Discord, and he's kind of gave us sort of here's what we had in LDK before with emojis, and we're not trying to revisit that. So kind of our next steps after we met last week and going over, we have a Figma file, which I can definitely link to more folks, which is seeming like maybe the final versions that we're just polishing up. Basically, it was 3 different options, different color schemes. People could choose icons and vote what they felt was appropriate. So we are hoping to just decide within the next week on style guides, mock-ups, and iterate. That way we can have everything polished up for sort of a web development. That should be our next step. So hopefully we'll have some more refined visuals to share with you guys pretty soon. So it's exciting.
Cool. And so it's to start with, it's mainly it's kind of just like an overhaul of the style of the site. Are you guys going to think about as well what the actual experience with like the documentation actually looks like for how like developers consume the documentation for the LDK as well? Or is it's more branding side of things at the moment, isn't it, from my understanding?
I think we're getting there. I think right now it's just basically me, Christoph, Stephen, and Pavlinex who are kind of working on it. So we have like Figma going, but I think ultimately like really great documentation is not just like necessary, but like so useful in open source. And when you pass on projects to other people who are trying to get involved or maybe like have never seen this before, just the way they can understand. But I think that would definitely be a good next step, particularly because like it's not just going to be, I think, LDK. We're going to try to wrap this into BDK too. So having that sort of articulated very clearly would be a great thing. So thank you for the reminder. Yes, we will have it documented somehow.
Cool.
And thanks
yeah,
for leading the meeting too. This has been great.
No worries. I just feel like I'm talking a bit too much.
Love
But
it.
yeah, there's so many different projects that have come into fruition this year. Collaboration with the Spectre team, stuff that Alex and Christoph's have been doing. We have designers are piling up. They're queuing up to work on Zeus. That team is very lucky to have a good 2, 3, maybe even 4 designers who are contributing there. Perhaps because it's a greenfield project. Everyone loves a greenfield project, don't they? So that has probably helped, and obviously Lightning is awesome. So greenfield plus Lightning is a great combination. And the stuff that I've shown you, the Bitcoin icons, the design guide itself, the educational tools. So there's a lot going on. So hopefully over the next weeks and months, we'll find a strategy to just shout about them and make them more known to the wider community.
Connor, sorry to interrupt you. Well,
No, go for it.
it's just I lost my Wi-Fi as you were talking about visuals, and I thought maybe I could show a couple of the ones that I have kind of in the works.
Yeah. Always love seeing your visuals, so go for it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we can see your screen, but we can't hear you.
Yeah. So this is one of the ones that I've been working on, which is kind of trying to say what a transaction is. And I spoke to Johns, and he kind of explained all these things about nodes and confirming and blocks being made. And so I don't know, I'm working on this possible kind of visual explanation of what Bitcoin is. And this is supposed to be the network. I think I'll add more nodes, but some of these are confirming nodes, like the blue ones, and the other ones I have this kind of ghost boxes down here. They're the mining nodes that are working on solving the puzzle. They're all communicating with one another, and I'm working on the blockchain. I think I want to put them together, but when one of them gets confirmed, then it goes green and it becomes part of the chain and stops being this ghost, this kind of crystal ghost block, and it just gets there, and then the transaction is made. And that's kind of that, I don't know, representation of what it could be, trying to picture what the nodes are and what mining might be. And these are supposed to be kind of represent the ledger, but I might add words like addresses to it or something of the sort. And then just kind of this path, I guess, to sending Bitcoin in a technical way, but kind of a visual way too, to try and imagine that network. But like I've also been working on what it means to have a wallet. Let me see if I can find it. See, I think it's this one. And how it is kind of representative of your key. Hang on, it's coming. It takes a little bit. It takes a little bit to load. And kind of how it's the sort of thing that you can unlock your Bitcoin. Hang on. So it's one of those other visuals that it's sort of in the works. I'm thinking of adding a little bit of a background that may be more representative of kind of electronic, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what works. Anyway, kind of a short description of this. Let's see, did I stop sharing my screen? I did.
Yeah, you're not showing.
Okay. So anyway,
very cool.
I thought I'd share a couple of those.
Yeah, that's very sick. Was that all done in Blender?
Yeah, they're
Amazing.
all done.
I only ever did the donut tutorial, so you're much better than I am. That was really, really good work. Very impressive.
Thank you. It's kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, good stuff. I forget I was going to say something. I'm helping to write the script for a third video at Hello Bitcoin, and it's around how Bitcoin works. And like, there's so many like metaphors that I'm coming across that would be nice to put forward, but are not necessarily accurate. So like when talking about the idea of like private key, and if you lose your private key, you lose your Bitcoin, it not being technically true. Like the Bitcoin is never lost, right? It's always still on the network. It's just that you don't have the keys to unlock them. And so like that, it might be a very small point, but when you're our videos will have visualizations to go along with them. You don't want your visualization to have some Bitcoin disappearing into the ether somewhere, because that's not what actually happens, right? Like, it's just the fact that you can't access it. It always stays in the same place, quote unquote, but you can't access it. Same thing with wallet. We've spoke about this a lot in the past, where the wallet euphemism is an interesting one as well, because when we think about physical wallets, we think about IDs and holding cash and other types of maybe identification as well. So a wallet has a lot more, I guess, flesh to it in the physical world. But for Bitcoin, it's just this place where you hold your keys, technically. And so how do these metaphors actually, how do we tell the story of these things, and how do we visualize them in a way that changes someone's perception of what they already know as well? So all of those things are really interesting. And obviously the work you're doing is part of helping to perhaps change those mental models as well.
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes to try to explain some things, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
We try.
Yeah, we try.
All right, cool. There is 15 minutes left, but time is scarce. Not absolutely scarce like Bitcoin, but if there's no other things people want to discuss, I kind of will leave you alone to get on with the rest of your day. Feel free to stay on and continue the conversation. But I'll stop recording now if there's no other things that people want to get across to the community or have recorded. No? Okay. Cool. All right, cool. I'm going to stop recording, and then we'll end the call here. But thanks for everyone for joining. Hope you found some value in it. Hope it was interesting. Hope you get some idea of what's been going on. And I hope you're excited by it as well, because there is a lot going on. So thank you again.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Connor.